history of the Textus Receptus. We're going to learn about how the Textus Receptus came into print in 1522. Right? We're going to learn a little bit about that. Right. Now, I'm going to direct you to my next slide. The man most responsible for producing this Greek Bible was a Dutch Catholic scholar and humanist, Desiderius Erasmus is the man's name. He is the man responsible for producing the Greek Bible, which has come to be known as the Textus Receptus. Okay, this man was born 1469, died 1536. I'm going to take you through a little bit of history now, so you understand the history of this Bible. He studied Greek New Testament manuscripts and their variants for years. He studied in the Netherlands, he studied in France, he studied in England, and he studied in Switzerland. Now, in 1512 in Basel, while working hard to produce a critical edition of the Latin New Testament that was initially translated by Jerome in the 4th century. That's come to be known as the Vulgate. For some of you that know about Bible versions, Jerome in the 4th century produced a Latin version of the Bible. Came to be known as the Vulgate. Now, at the time that Erasmus, in his generation, obviously all of Europe was under the influence of the Roman Catholic Church. The most predominant version of the Bible that everyone throughout Europe read was the Latin. Greek was perhaps only confined to academics. The common populace and the church, by and large, read the Latin. So, now Erasmus, in 1512, he is working hard to produce a critical version of the Latin New Testament. He wanted to take Jerome's work and he wanted to improve on it for his generation. Well, while he was doing that, he was presented with 6 Greek manuscripts of a near-complete New Testament, dating from the 12th century. Now, in his excitement, he decided that he was going to produce a critical edition of the Greek using these manuscripts. He was astounded. He was excited. He was like, wow, look at what I've got now in my possession. Now, in portions of the Bible that he could not find in the Greek, he used the Latin to translate. He didn't have all of the Greek manuscripts that comprised of the entire Greek New Testament. He had perhaps about 3/4 of it. I think portions of the book of Revelation he didn't have of the Greek. And so he used the Latin Vulgate to translate that back into the Greek in order to finish the Textus Receptus. Now, his motivation for producing this fresh Greek Bible was twofold. Number one, he wanted to show the superiority of the Greek over the Latin. Number one. And to polish up any copying and translating mistakes. That was his motivation. His intention was to create a bilingual Bible or a bilingual version. In other words, he wanted to show the Greek text on the left-hand side of the page, and he wanted to show the Latin on the right-hand side of the page. That was his intention. Now, it
finds the Trinity. Give us the verse, and then should it be in or should it be out? 1 John 5:7, that's found in the King James Bible, says that there are 3 witnesses in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Spirit, and these 3 are one. This is a verse that was added to the Bible in 1522 when Erasmus, who was the first publisher of any Greek New Testament, got pressure from the church to add this Trinitarian statement because it had been found in some Latin manuscripts. And so there was some scribe by the name of Roy working in 1520 at Oxford, and he writes out this whole Greek New Testament and somehow gets into Erasmus's hands. And Erasmus never made the promise that he'd put it in if he found such a manuscript, but he basically said the reverse. I didn't put it in because I didn't find any manuscript. So he finds this manuscript. I'm sure somebody brought it to his door, and he writes in that Greek text, and he actually changes the text from what Roy had written, because Roy didn't know Greek very well. He translated the Latin into Greek, and Erasmus had to make the fixes. But it's not found in our ancient manuscripts. It's found in 4 16th century manuscripts, and 4 manuscripts in the 12th century or later in the marginal note with a 16th or 17th century hand. That's a passage. This is not authentic. And the ancient church never even thought about it being authentic. Ehrman talks about this passage as if there's no way we could have ever come up with the doctrine of the Trinity without this, and therefore the Trinity is not true. But he knows what the church councils believed. He knows about the Council of Constantinople in 381 and the Council of Nicaea and all the rest of these, the Chalcedonian Creed in 451 that clearly affirmed the Trinity without having this verse even in existence.
And if it had been in existence, they would have put that at the top of the
You
stack.
bet they would. Yeah.
Okay.
So they were able to determine the Trinity.
So for 1,500 years, you stack up all the documents and the copies that you had, and there's not one copy that's got that verse in it.
Not one Greek copy, right?
Okay.
We have it in a few late Latin Vulgate manuscripts.
Yeah.
I just opened up the textual critical material, the apparatus, the Latin Vulgate in accordance this morning. I started scrolling through. Only took me a minute to find an example. And all of you TR guys, your TR only guys in there, hiding out in the pub, just waiting to try to get some disciples. You're going to get them. You've got your links ready. I'd like you to take a look at John chapter 6, verse 15.
John 6:15. Jesus, knowing that they intended to come and make him king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself.
John 6:15. And in the Latin Vulgate, you have a different reading than you have pretty much in all the Greek manuscripts. And when it talks about Jesus going back to the mountain, the vast majority of Greek manuscripts say he departed again to the mountain. But the Latin says he fled. He fled. Well, what was he fleeing from? Oh, no, but he fled. And I looked at the textual evidence for the reading fled. First of all, you look it up in here, that's what the Latin says. That's what the Vulgate says. Okay? So, when you quote the Latin in defense of the comma, okay, got the same thing here. Same source that you say, you got to have this. You got to have this. Okay? And, in fact, it has significantly stronger textual background than the comma has. It's the original reading of Codex Sinaiticus. It's been corrected, but it's the original reading. And unlike the comma, the Curetonian Syriac likewise contains this reading, which means it's ancient enough that it was used in the translation of that version of the New Testament. Comma doesn't have that. But there are also early church fathers. Tertullian, Ambrose, Jerome, Augustine, all showed familiarity with this reading. So, here's my question for all you TROists who are just so excited about getting people into your little group and destroying them apologetically in the process. Why aren't you pushing for this? Where is the Facebook group? Fix John 6:15. It's got better attestation. It's in the Latin. It's got early church fathers. Just like the comma. Why aren't you pushing for it? I know why. So do you. We both know why. Because the manuscripts don't matter. Textual criticism doesn't matter. You already have your ultimate authority. It's TR, whatever that is. So since it's in it, at least in starting the 3rd edition of Erasmus, since it's in it, then all that stuff you quote supports that. But quoting that would also support this, but that doesn't matter. Consistency doesn't matter. It's hypocrisy. It's inconsistent hypocrisy.
Where is it? Where is it?
Let me see.
Master, I can see. I can see. Do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he, Master? That I may believe in him. You're seeing him. It is he that is speaking to you. I believe. Lord.
Make way there! Make way, the priest is coming! Out of the way, clear the way, the priest is here! Out from this here!
This lying cheat was never blind.
What?
We of the temple know that he only pretended to be blind in order to earn his living.
He's right, he's a liar! I've known him a long time, he's never been blind!
And what's your story? That you can give sight to the blind? I came into this world to give sight to those who cannot see. And to take away sight from those who can. What do you mean by that? That we who are righteous are blind? If you were blind, you would be without sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains.
This man! What's through the devil?
Yes, a cheat!
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! Hypocrites all! For you set up the kingdom of heaven against men. You do not go in yourselves, nor do you let others enter. Blind guides! You strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. You bow before the letter of the law and violate the heart of the law. Justice, mercy, good faith. You are like whited sepulchres, all clean and fair without, but within, full of dead men's bones and all corruption. You see these stones, do you not? I tell you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. Yours is a house of desolation, the home of the lizard and the spider. Serpents, brood of vipers, how can any of you escape damnation? You shall not see me here again, not until you learn to cry, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. For I and my Father are one and the same. He is a blasphemer!